Thai Creative and Design Center, TCDC, over here in Emporium Shopping Mall. And I'm here to talk to Khun Albert, who runs this place.
You know, whenever you think of design, people worship these global design icons, and that's it. Some students never even sit in one or use one, but their teachers tell them that this is, you know, these are the global design icons, and they often forget that it's not just about style; it's about context. Like, look, Harley Davidson. You know, it's really about, you know, go west, urban cowboy, this whole American frontier, and it's designed for that kind of landscape, right? If you're growing up in Pisa in Italy with tiny winding roads, you wouldn't design a Harley Davidson. I like this. This is still extraordinary to me, by Marcel Breuer. This is 1925. I mean, look at it. It could have been done yesterday, right? And it still looks so amazing. This to me is amazing design, right? And of course,
the test of time.
Yes, it really does. I can imagine how avant-garde it looked in that time. But also, I think it really, really tells you that if you look at the story again, there's a context to it. There's a history of the whole Bauhaus movement. I don't really like this. This Javier Mariscal duplex bar stool it's considered a design icon. This can be copied overnight in Suan Lum Night Bazaar for much less than what it costs. But that's not the point. The point is this came out of post-Franco era, right, where people had been so oppressed under this dictatorship. And after that, you could see in design this whole movement of color and exuberance, and you can see the stool expresses that. So it has a political meaning in its time. But if I have a design student who thinks, oh, well, yeah, this is supposed to be great looking, so I can do something that's wiggly and colorful like this, there's no meaning.
Without understanding why.
Right. I mean, how many people know that the Volkswagen came out of the whole Hitler era, right? And it had political connotations in its time. You know, simple messages, because otherwise you have young design students and they look at the web and they look at Milan Fair and they look at Paris Fashion Week and they think, well, we can copy the style or the look of it, and then we never finish up this problem of being accused by the West of copying, that Asians just copy the West. And part of it is just that we never explain the context. Design is always conditioned by environment, by community, by personal issues, by a sense of history, and we just put these icons on a timeline showing also what's happening, you know, the World War set to the 1950s consumerism, and these objects came out of there. So it's important not to think that design is just about style. It's not. It really is about function, quality of life, and meeting certain social contexts and social needs as the economy changes, as society changes. It's hard to defend it to, you know, national budget accountants, because they say, what's your KPI?
I was going to ask KPI actually.
And you know, KPI, you know, well, and then when we give them KPI, which is based on audience, well, visitor numbers, the question comes back, well, can you prove to me how many designers you produce after they come to an exhibition on design? I said, how do I prove that? You know, how do you prove that you've created successful citizens even after 12 years of education? You know, and knowledge is something that you just have to believe in, and you have to make sure that that the results of their education while they're being educated can be measured. And in a place like this, you can only measure it really by mainly by numbers, and then by certain projects that you do to see the attendance. You know.
Yeah, but that's still just numbers. I mean.
Yeah. But qualitatively, it's hard. You really need to be up and running for 5 years plus, and then if you can track old members and see where they've gone, you know, and you have success stories happening. we're going through now is we're working with the National Economic Social Development Board in mapping out which are the key industries. Right? Because sometimes you have to start by redefining what you mean first by creative economies. And the definition is quite flexible depending on different economies. We wouldn't be following the British definition of it, right? And so that's still being worked on. But I would say that agribusiness being a very big aspect of our lives and our economy here, there's definitely room for a lot of more creative economy initiatives in that area.